What's going on, guys? We have another book from the creator Michael Oden, who did things like The Embrace and things like that I really enjoyed. This is Elysian Fields, and this is a story more focused on Achilles. Now, just to kind of preface this a little bit, I'm very bad with the names. I'm going to butcher them, and I apologize ahead of time. I'm very much a normie when it comes to this kind of stuff. I enjoy some of it, and my the things that I've been exposed to is things like Troy, which I know Michael Oden's not a big fan of that. But like Hercules, video game adaptations like God of War, things like that. And that's really been the only exposure I've had. I've never really done a deep dive into any lore or things like that. Now, from what I understand, Michael Oden, he's really big in on this, and he tries to keep as honest with lore, whether it's just like a theory or things like that. He tries to keep that all in mind. And I think he does a pretty good job, at least from my normie perspective. So let's just get right on into it. And so I would just want to, we have Michael Oden as our writer, and we have all sorts of things going in. I really want to highlight all of our artists and everybody that's involved in it. Just because they do a really good job here. Even the letterer does an excellent job. I'm very impressed with everything that's in this book as far as visually speaking. So our story opens up and we're at the siege of Troy, and this is after Hector has died, and the Trojans now have like a new champion of sorts, and this is King Memnon. And he's going through and he is just cutting down everybody in his path. And he's doing so in a brutal, vicious, disrespectful manner. He is doing this on purpose. He is trying to lure out the demigod being, of course, Achilles. And so he's just going through. He is slaughtering lots and lots of Achilles, fellow soldiers. And then Memnon is given the thing he seeks. And that is an audience with Achilles, who's coming in on chariot. And so he's got his spear out. He goes ahead and he tosses his spear. Memnon avoids it. And I'm not even going to attempt the name, but the guy on steering the chariot is like, my prince, you could have easily made that. And Achilles is like, yeah, I know, but he's traveled all this way just to get be killed by my blade, and I don't really want to disappoint him. So he jumps out of the chariot. He makes a quick attack that Memnon blocks. Memnon tries to do a counter, and then we get a little glimpse of Achilles' speed. He is very fast. So the two, they have a quick little chat. Memnon challenges Achilles to single combat, and of course Achilles accepts. Memnon's like, well, you may want to pick up your spear. He's like, nah, I don't need it for you. And so Memnon's like, all right, let us begin. And before he can finish his sentence here, Achilles is already attacking, and this takes him Memnon way off guard. He's like, what the fuck, And Achilles toys with him, let me get this better on screen. He toys with him. He'll kind of humor him a little bit, but yeah, he's easily disposing of Memnon here. And then there's a shot over here that I really like of just Achilles not even watching him die. He's got like the little side eye. He's kind of got a glance over there, but he's not going to face him as Memnon just falls and dies. And one of the things that our artists do that I really like is when a character dies, we'll see this again later, you see it in the eyes. Like, they go kind of white out. And I've seen that in, like, anime and stuff like that. And I do think a lot of the art is inspired by some anime out there. And I do really appreciate that. But, yeah, having the whited out eyes. And it's basically, like, showing like the soul has left their body, like they are dead. And I really like that interpretation. And Achilles mocks him. He's like, another presumptuous equal slain. So, you know, a lot of people that say that they can rival Achilles, and none have measured up. And he kind of looks at the rest of the Trojan and he's like, well, I don't see anybody else, but my bloodlust has yet to be slayed. So he says, fuck it, let's go. And, you know, gathers up his guys, and they continue fighting with the Trojans here. And you see Achilles got a guy on a spear here. He's got a insatiable bloodlust right now. And so he's looking for others. He spots another Prince of Troy. And I'm not even going to attempt the name. Like I said, I'm not gonna try to bother with some of these names, just because it would only serve to embarrass myself. And it's just really quick that we're gonna even have any kind of dealings with them. So I'm not gonna bother for now. I'll be butchering some names later on as the story goes that are actually more relevant. So the prince, he runs. Achilles is following him, but he manages to get a shot on Achilles, and he goes ahead and takes it. He lets loose his arrow, hits Achilles right in the heel, for which, you know, we know anybody who's even just like a normie like myself knows that this is Achilles' undoing, hence the term Achilles' heel. So he falls, he pulls out the arrow, he just kind of laughs like, you know, of course this is what does me in. And he removes his helmet, and it's noted that like as the hero, like Achilles, falls, nobody's even noticing. Like, so he's not getting like this big, spectacular, awe-inspiring death. Like, everybody's continuing fighting. They're not seeing that Achilles has fallen and died. And again, there's the whited out eyes, and it just I really like how that is shown. So you can just see the moment he dies. Like, he's still alive here, and then finally gone. And so that is a really, really nice touch that I very much enjoy. And so now this is going to be the part that's a little bit more difficult for me to explain. So just try to bear with me here. So Achilles is not damned to like the hell, or as they call it, like Tartarus, I believe. And nor is he going to go to heaven because of all of his his deeds, which they call Elysian. That is my understanding of how things work here. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But instead, he's kind of set into like an eternal memory, and this is like a gift from his mother. Rather than be damned to Tartarus, that he instead gets to enjoy at least a memory, a very fond memory. And so that's kind of what we're showing. It's like, this is damnation here. This is where Achilles' soul is kept in this vessel here. And I'm understanding that this is his mom kind of protecting his soul within it. And so we get to kind of see what's going on in this eternal memory. And we find out that Achilles has his lover Patroclus. Now, for me, this was a little off, like not off-putting, but rather it threw me off. I know from the movie Troy that they have Patroclus as his cousin, and after listening to Michael Oden, they got that way wrong according to him in this movie, and it's actually believed that Patroclus is Achilles' lover. And so that is the interpretation that Michael Oden wanted to show. And I'm fine with that. Like, he's trying to show an accurate interpretation to the best of his knowledge, so we're going to roll with it. So I just set that aside. I'm like, wait, that's supposed to be his cousin. No, I'm going to go with it. I listened to like that interview, and I get where he's coming from. So he's spending some time with Patroclus. This is the memory that he's with, and they share in a kiss, and it looks like they're going to at least go for a swim. But then we're seeing the vessels being looked at by Hades. And he's telling Charon, the ferryman, he's giving him orders. He's like, I'm gonna unseal Achilles, and you're going to take him to the arena. And so we see, as the memories play on, we're seeing Hades, as he disturbs the vessel that's holding his soul within it. We see what's going on within the memory here, and the seal has been broken, and the vessel's destroyed, and out comes Achilles, fully armored, and he's also armed. He's got a spear, he's got a sword, shield, everything. It's just as he was when he died. And he looks at his helmet, doesn't say a thing, and just puts it on, and the ferryman escorts him. Now, these next two panels, I really enjoy the dialogue, especially from Achilles in particular. It gives you a good sense of who he is and how he talks to the gods. He does not hold them in the most high regard. And so I'm just going to read these top two panels. He says, where do you take me, ferryman? And let me get this a little closer. His dialogue's a little bit more difficult to read. It said, a displaced soul is no place to make demands of a god. And then Achilles says, I'm in no mood, Charon. And Charon replies, you would threaten a god? Achilles then says, you mortals may not die, but I've seen your like bleed as well as any man. Speak. And so, yeah, he doesn't give a shit that Charon is a god of any kind. He's like, whatever, just shut up and do what I say. This at least amuses Charon, and he's just like, I can see why Hades has picked you for his champion. Well, you'll see soon enough where we're headed as we approach our arena. And he's like, champion of Hades arena? What the hell are you talking about, man? And just then, they approach this arena, and there is a battle ongoing. And so we have in here some very nice artwork. We have, now I'm probably butchering this, but Hippolyte and Gilgamesh. We also have Aikido and Heracles all fighting. Now we're going to be focused on Hippolyte and Gilgamesh for the time being. These two back here, Aikido and Heracles, they seem to be having like a feat of strength between the two, like kind of seeing who's the stronger of the two. So they're not. It doesn't appear that their fight is going to be that of like the same as these two. So Hippolyte is. We see she's getting kind of outmatched right from the get-go, but she's got a lot of spunk and zest in her, right? She's just not going to go down so easy, even though she's beaten in the strength department. So an arrow is fired into her horse, Deimos. Let me take a quick look. Dinos. Okay, we're moving on. Dinos is what I'm going to go with. So she's been dehorsed, but the fight's not out of her. She gives him a little bit of a shave here. Cuts off a little bit of a beard. And, she tries to put up a good fight. She slashes. She gets hit in the stomach real hard. And Gilgamesh is over here just kind of remarking on all of our fire and fury. And it's like, there is beauty in the rage. Perhaps I will spare you for a harem. And this kind of pisses Hippolyte off. And she's like, no, I'm not taking that. Now, she tries to come out swinging, but she still gets beaten down. Like, this is not a real second win for her. And she's like, I am not your harlot, I am a warrior, and I am your death. So even when she's at the disadvantage, she is not gonna give up so easy. And I admire that about her. And he's like, well, indeed, and I will give you a warrior's end, as he readies a bow. And Hippolyte goes ahead and whistles, and in flies her horse, Denios. Denios. Like I said, I'm going to be fucking those names up, so hopefully you're not too offended by this. So this is more of her second wind, right? She's got her horse back. She looks to be at the advantage. We see Gilgamesh is down, and so they're ready to for like round 2, so to speak. But before that can happen, a spear comes through, and then an announcement is made. A new champion is entered the arena, and at the behest of Hades, welcome Achilles. And so now Achilles is it's like, oh, this is what the ferryman was talking about. Now, I will say he looks pretty happy here, but then he does say that he's not thrilled to be here. Because Hippolyte is like, I don't need your help. I can handle this. And he's just like, yeah, she's like, you are not needed here. I have the matter in hand. I am no more enthusiastic about my presence here than you are, Amazon. But if you were serious about killing this oaf, perhaps you should consider at least producing a weapon, as he points out to the sword that she dropped. So he's saying that, yeah, he's not thrilled to be here, but he's just going to take on the fight since she can't even hold on to her weapon. So I don't know. It's hard for me to get a read as to whether or not he's happy about this whole ordeal, because, yeah, he looks like psychotically happy here. But I don't know. Maybe he's just making the best of a situation. Hard to say. But Gilgamesh, he starts to address Achilles and basically kind of belittling him. And this strikes a nerve with Achilles because he kind of comes off as like a king from his past. The way, and we get like a quick flashback of a king just being kind of a prick to Achilles and how much Achilles hated that king. And so now Achilles is like, okay, I will enjoy killing you. And then afterward, I'm just going to forget as the crows feast on your flesh. I'm going to forget all about you and continue on my day. And so Hippolyte's like, no, I got it. I don't need your help. And, I'm going to finish this moron. And so Gilgamesh is like, all right, be done with you, woman. Because he's kind of over her too. So he lets loose an arrow. Achilles goes over as quick as he can and stops the arrow. And he's like, he protects Hippolyte, but then tells her, get in my way again, and you're going to wish that I'd just let this arrow come through. So she's like, all right, fine. Nobody wants me in this fight. I'll just move on. And so Gilgamesh continues to insult Achilles, and he's just like, oh, I see you've adapted humor. I will improve your wit by removing your tongue. So yeah, these two are ready to lock in, and so Hippolyte's like, well, I guess I'll just go ruin Heracles' time over there with Enkidu. And I didn't explain this, but it does look like they are paired up. So it looks like Enkidu and Gilgamesh are on a team, and Heracles and Hippolyte are on a team as well. Because throughout this battle, Heracles keeps, calling out to make sure she's okay. And Gilgamesh also makes threats of Heracles as well. So it does look like it's a team battle. And so, more or less, she wants to interrupt this because she takes joy in that driving him insane. So now we're focused on these two fighting. So Heracles and Enkidu. And I have no real knowledge of anything doing with Enkidu over here. I've never even really heard of him, at least to my knowledge. Now, I believe Heracles and Hercules are somewhat the same. I could be wrong there, but that was my understanding, and especially when they keep referring to him to like the son of Zeus and things like that. But yeah, Hippolyte, she interrupts and this just pisses off everyone. But real quick, we'll see the fight with Achilles and Gilgamesh, and it looks to be a pretty decent battle. Both getting in some throws and some cuts, and we see more being shaved off Gilgamesh there. And we see a moment here where Gilgamesh is now summoning more weaponry and giving us, once again, kind of like an anime power-up. So shit's getting real over here between those two. And then we come back over here to our other two, and Heracles is telling Hippolyte, like, hey, look, I didn't need you. This was like a feat of strength and stuff like that. Piss off kind of stuff. And before he knows it, he gets hit with a big old hammer. And Enkidu has kind of stepped it up. He's like, well, it's too bad we couldn't finish our match, but now you both answer to the Bull of Heaven. And so I'm assuming that's what this is here, the Bull of Heaven. And very beautifully animated here. Illustrated. I really like its look, how it's kind of like got a universal, like a universe within it. It's a very nice look. I really like it. And then finally, we see the battle about to resume between Achilles and Gilgamesh before our story ends. And then we get a nice little thank you to everyone from Michael Odin. And again, always appreciated. And yeah, he's just going on about thanking everybody and the kind of the story behind all of this. And yeah, always really cool to see that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that is Elysian Fields, and hopefully this continues. I really enjoyed this. And again, I'm very much a normie when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, I have interest in it, but I've never really done deep dives into it. So I would be, like, the second I hear that Elysian Fields #2 comes out, yeah, I'm going to be like a first day purchase for me. Like, and that really just kind of speaks more to Michael Odin as a creator. I really like The Embrace, Elysian Fields. So like basically if his name's attached to it, I'm going to get it. He is in my upper tier of indie comic writers. So if his name's attached to something, I got it. Just like with Paul Thayer and Dave Brink. If I see their names, among others, but these are just the names that immediately shoot to mind. These are going to be the ones that I grab first day, no problem. And like I said, it feels like, even from my perspective, not knowing all of this, the passion behind it, I think he is staying true to form with these characters. He's not trying to come at it in any kind of disrespect. Now, again, in the very little knowledge I have of these kind of characters, this does appear to be accurate as far as mannerisms, I will say. Like, Achilles has had, in all adaptations I've ever seen, no love for the gods. Beyond, like, his mother, who I do believe is a god. Now, maybe I'm wrong there, but outside of that, he's got no love for him. So, as far as I can tell, this is pretty accurate to actual lore and not just like what Hollywood has produced for us. So, high recommend. This is at least a 9 out of 10, maybe even pushing 10 out of 10. Seriously, like it's great stuff. Animation, I found really nothing nitpicky or otherwise. No real major flaws in it. So, this could also be just because I'm a normie and I don't pick up on too much, right? Because I'm unfamiliar here. But yeah, it's at least a 9 out of 10. And if this sounds like something that would interest you, check the link in the description where you can get a hand on a copy for yourself, or at least 2 to follow for any kind of second chance campaigns that may arise. But that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.